So
Like,
what
yeah,
type of
we
calls
love.
do you start getting like when once that starts happening? Like what sort of like offers or things are presented to you? What sort of new opportunities start coming out of that?
The Chicago really, Chicago embraced us, but the other cities loved us. If you can understand that,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. There's definitely
we
stuff like that
started
in my city
traveling.
too. Yep.
Yeah, we started traveling to other cities. Like we got a lot of gigs in Chicago because it was like, but it was hood gigs. We didn't get the downtown, at the Chicago theater things. Like we didn't
Yeah.
get to play at the Bulls games, and we didn't get those. We didn't get that type of love. You know what I'm saying? To play at stuff like that. But other cities would be like, oh my God, that music done got down here. We be in Milwaukee, we be in Detroit, especially Detroit. Detroit embraced us like Detroit didn't. That's one thing I would say about Detroit. Detroit was one of those cities that did not give two fucks.
Hey,
You
they
know what I'm
still
saying?
don't.
Like Detroit is a tough city, bro. They don't give they radio stations or none of that. They don't give two fucks.
No.
We was riding down there to go do Dim in 2009, and we heard Ghetto House and Juke on the radio station while we ride their mains. I'm like, woo, if we could get this type of love at the crib.
Yeah.
But yeah, Detroit was killing. Detroit, Milwaukee, Minnesota, those places like that, they embraced it like crazy. So the other cities, Indianapolis, they were embracing us like crazy. And still to this day, these people, they'll throw raves and hey, we need that raunchiness, we need that ghetto house, we need you.
Yeah.
So uh, it's New York embraced it.
Yeah.
So it was actually for Chicago, ghetto house was the replacement, was the battle for hip hop. So it was like hip hop came into Chicago and started making the house music kind of like
Like what era of hip
everybody who
hop
was
was
on
that?
BDP,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
especially NWA.
Yeah, like late 90s. Yeah. Late
NWA,
80s.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those guys, that music came and changed the entire outlook on the city because people went from penny loafers and flooding pants to starter jackets and Timberlands.
Oh yeah. I still have my
So
starter
house
jacket.
music, yeah, house music didn't work for that. And I tell
No.
people that all the time. Those people y'all had in those preppy clothes and all that traded that in for Timberland and starter jackets.
Yeah.
We had so many. I had a Raiders jacket. I had a Bulls jacket. Like
I had a Duke
LA.
one.
A lot of people had LA jackets, but I ain't like LA.
Yeah. That was the
Cubs,
first one.
White
Yeah.
Sox. So when people traded that stuff, it was like, bro, wasn't nobody listening to It's a Cold World and Gotta Have House. Wasn't nobody trying. They was in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the police. That shit. That's what motherfucker was on. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it changed the whole dynamic, and we were like, wait a minute, they cursing on the record.
Right. It's like, why can't I do this if they can do that?
Yeah. And then the dance groups, House-O-Matic, Phase 2, K5, people they were like, man, we need to speed them records up because they were dancing faster. They was like, y'all should speed the records up. And he's like, all right, okay.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing in that documentary too, where they talked about how the records progressively got faster.
Faster. It went from 135 to 140 to 145 to 150 to 155 to 160. When it got to 160, I was like, nah, man, this shit is too fast.
Terminal velocity.
Yeah, they started footworking and all. I was like, this shit too fast for me. Like, I ain't making no tracks at no 160. I'm like, I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm gonna stick to this. As far as I'm gonna go with it is 150, and they ain't going no further. So
because then it's like you don't want, like, at a certain point it becomes gimmicky. You still want it to be like a real song. It's like,
and then you want. I always looked at cha-cha slides and things like that. I always want records where if a 40-year-old wanted to dance to it or a 50-year-old wanted to dance to it, they didn't feel out of place dancing to it. Right. You know what I mean? Or they didn't feel too old to dance to it. Or at least they could sit in their chair and bob their head and move a little bit.
It's hard not
to. But if that shit
to
going at 160, they looking like, man, that shit is for the kids. What is this shit? Yeah. And then you don't want nobody on the floor for 60 seconds, and they so damn tired that they gotta go sit down. They ain't been on the floor but a minute. You know what I mean? So you gotta slow that shit back down.
It's good workout
Yeah,
music too.